What would happen if the banks we trust collapse? It's a question that has recently stopped being hypothetical and started becoming a harsh reality. Remember the names: Silvergate, SVB, and Signature Bank. These three U.S. banks, along with Credit Suisse, have recently buckled under pressure, causing shockwaves of panic across the globe. These failures have painted a grim picture, highlighting the fragility of the banking system that we all rely on. It's like a nightmare come to life, a financial boogeyman that we all feared but never really thought we would have to confront. The regulators and governments swiftly jumped into action, announcing emergency measures to contain the risk. They've acted as our shields, protecting us from the financial contagion that threatened to spread. But this is not just about these banks. It's about the domino effect that their collapse could trigger. It's about the shock that reverberates through the financial system, shaking the very foundations of our economy. The increase in interest rates, the pressure on borrowers, the sell-off in other bank debt, all of these are symptoms of a much larger problem. We are on the precipice of a potential banking crisis. But what does that really mean for us? Imagine a row of dominoes, each one representing a bank. When one falls, it can trigger a chain reaction. This is the domino effect of a bank failure. It's not just about one bank folding in on itself, it's about the shock waves that ripple out, shaking the very foundations of our financial system. Let's take a closer look. When a bank like Silicon Valley Bank fails, it doesn't just leave a hole in the banking landscape. It sends a chilling message to the public, and suddenly, confidence in the banking system takes a hit. Trust, the very bedrock of any banking system, starts to crumble. This lack of confidence can cause a run on other banks as people scramble to safeguard their money. When this happens, other banks can find themselves in hot water, struggling to stay afloat amid a sea of withdrawals. But it doesn't stop there. This domino effect doesn't just topple banks, it causes a ripple effect throughout the economy. Borrowers, businesses, and everyday people feel the impact. Loans become harder to secure, businesses struggle to keep their doors open, and people's life savings can be put in jeopardy. It's a chain reaction that can bring a thriving economy to its knees. The recent collapse of Silicon Valley Bank serves as a stark reminder of just how interconnected our financial system is. When it fell, it didn't fall alone. It sent shockwaves through the economy, impacting everyone from the biggest corporations to the smallest businesses and individual savers. It's a sobering reminder that when one domino falls, the rest can quickly follow. So, the collapse of a bank isn't just a problem for that bank, it's a problem for us all. Us. Now let's delve into the aftermath of a bank collapse. Picture this: a bank, a financial institution that's been a pillar of stability, suddenly crumbles. It's not as far-fetched as it may seem. Take the recent case of Silicon Valley Bank, for instance. This bank experienced a massive bank run, with customers withdrawing $42 billion, leaving the bank with a negative cash balance of $1 billion. Imagine the shockwaves that sent through the financial world, but the real fallout, the real damage didn't stop there. You see, when a bank collapses, it's not just the bank that feels the pain. The impact ripples out, touching businesses, individuals, even entire industries. One of the most immediate and devastating consequences of a bank collapse is the loss of uninsured deposits. With Silicon Valley Bank, concerns were raised about the recovery of uninsured deposits, which amounted to a staggering $151.5 billion. And here's where it gets even more worrying. Of that astronomical sum, $137.6 billion were held by American customers. That's a whole lot of money that's suddenly in jeopardy. But the fallout doesn't stop there. Businesses that had their funds in the collapsing bank can be severely affected. Think about it. If a company has uninsured deposits at a bank that collapses, they may struggle to make payroll or continue business operations. That could lead to layoffs, bankruptcy, even the complete shutdown of otherwise healthy businesses. In short, the fallout from a bank collapse is like a row of dominoes tumbling down. One falls, and it sets off a chain reaction that can be catastrophic and far-reaching. So, what's the moral of the story here? It's this: in the financial world, no institution, no matter how big or stable, is immune from risk. And when those risks become reality, the fallout can be massive. The recent bank collapses serve as a stark reminder of this truth. In the event of a bank collapse, the fallout can be catastrophic and far-reaching. But it's not just about us. A banking crisis can have global ramifications. Take a moment and ponder on the ripple effects of a banking crisis. The dominoes don't just fall in one country, they tumble across borders, across continents, creating a chain reaction of financial instability. It's a global game of Jenga, and when one piece wobbles, the whole tower is at risk. Let's take a journey down south to Argentina, a country caught in the deepening abyss of a debt trap. The Argentine peso has depreciated significantly over the past decade due to hyperinflation and high levels of borrowing. Picture this. The country's external debt reached 45% of its GDP at the end of 2022. That's a whopping $277 billion. And what's the solution proposed by top economists? Dollarization. Yes, you heard it right. Adopting the dollar as the national currency to escape the vicious circle of debt and inflation. But this isn't just about Argentina. It's a stark illustration of how financial instability can spread, triggering economic aftershocks in far-flung corners of the world. Emerging economies are grappling with their reliance on the US dollar, sparking debates on alternative currencies in trade. Countries like China and India are leading the charge in seeking alternatives. But this isn't a change that can happen overnight, and in the meantime, the world watches and waits, teetering on the edge of a potential global financial crisis. Remember, our economies are interconnected in ways more profound than we realize. The collapse of a single bank in one country can set off a chain reaction, leading to a global banking crisis. A banking crisis isn't confined to one country, it can send shockwaves around the world. When one domino falls, the rest follow suit. Let's hope we can steady the tower before it's too late. So, is there a silver lining to all this? In the face of this seemingly looming storm, it's essential to recognize the tireless efforts of regulators and governments worldwide, dedicated to preventing a full-blown banking crisis. In response to the recent banking collapses, 6 central banks, including the Federal Reserve and the European Central Bank, swiftly announced measures to ensure funding for global financial institutions amid market stress. This rapid response has effectively contained the risk of contagion, a testament to the resilience of our banking system. Regulators are not sitting idle either. They've been working diligently behind the scenes, implementing increased regulations to fortify the banking sector. These enhanced regulations are designed to make our banking system more robust and resilient, capable of withstanding shocks like these in the future. Now let's talk about financial stability. Central banks around the world are focused on taming inflation and ensuring financial stability. The Federal Reserve's recent decision indicates a pause in rate hikes, a move that provides some relief to borrowers and the banking sector alike. Even in the face of adversity, the strength of most banks has been highlighted. They have proved their mettle by withstanding the shocks and continuing to adjust to the increase in interest rates. While the banking sector's recent incidents are indeed worrying, they've led to a rigorous examination of our financial institutions and the policies surrounding them. This could lead to stronger, more resilient banking structures in the long run. While the prospect of a banking crisis is undoubtedly concerning, it's important to remember that measures are in place to protect us and the economy. It's a turbulent time, no doubt, but remember, every cloud has a silver lining. The collapse of a bank can be a scary prospect. We've taken you on a journey through the unthinkable reality of banking collapses and the domino effect that follows. The fallout from such events has far-reaching impacts, not just on a national level but globally. These financial tremors can disrupt economies, affect currencies, and lead to a chain reaction of instability. But it's important to remember that measures are in place to prevent such crises. Regulators, governments, and central banks work tirelessly to maintain financial stability and to safeguard us from the worst-case scenarios. We've also glimpsed at the silver lining, the resilience and strength exhibited by most banks in the face of adversity and the potential for recovery and growth even amidst chaos. While we can't predict the future, we can stay informed and prepared. Because knowledge, after all, is power,